Welcome back to GBGuns Armory, the series where we're going over stuff previously reviewed on the main channel. This is the time for me to give a little more thoughts and feel, because it's less about facts and performance, and a chance for you guys to give your experiences and knowledge, because this is all stuff that's been out for a while. And today we're going over something that's definitely been out for a while, the Walther P99. Now this is the final edition, but I actually have three P99s. I've got an older P99AS that I fell in love with and carried for years, and then I have a very old P99 in 40. It's the only 40 cal that I own, simply because I found it at the pawn shop. I wanted that early P99, so I was willing to have another caliber just to get the gun. So the P99, incredible gun, final edition, as in they're finally going to stop producing them, even though every year they get harassed for them. Was, as I understand it, the first pistol to have interchangeable backstraps. That was a Walther invention. You also had the paddle magazine release. Little paddle on the bottom of the trigger guard there that can be accessed ambidextrously. I fell in love with that because rather than having to shift and reach my thumb, I could just use my middle finger and not have to change my grip at all. Love it. Plus it's not going to get bumped in a holster or while jostling around or moving around doing daily life things. There's no button to be pushed. And since your holster covers the trigger guard, it covers the paddle, your magazine's going nowhere. And then the big amazing thing with the P99AS are the 3 trigger modes. And I think this is why this gun kind of failed in the US commercial market. People either love it or I've never heard of it. And it doesn't seem to be much of an in-between. By the way, I was at a USCCA local community event thing this last week, and one of the gentlemen there was shooting a P99, an older one. He bought a final edition, but was just holding on to that one. So props there. So 3 trigger modes. This is a DASA striker-fired gun with a second strike capability. And, as I said, that third mode. I'll pause for a moment to break this down real quick. If you just go clear, if you've just got the gun ready as is, you see the trigger is sticking way out here at kind of a double action pull length. You have a light pull to a click and it pauses there. That's the anti-stress mode. That's that sort of, are you sure, are you ready, also to break, say, law enforcement from a habit of flinching. Then, trigger goes the rest of the way, breaks at the end, and this was the beginning of that amazing, famous Walther short, tight reset for great shots. Let's say the gun didn't go off, trigger goes all the way back out, you can see the striker has recessed, I can press the trigger again, and we had a double action pull. You can also, and this is how I carried it and why I liked this as a carry gun as I was getting into guns, push this button on the top of the slide. You can see our striker protruding, camera focus there. If I push the button, striker is gone. It is now decocked. And now we have a long, heavier double action first shot. The gun cycles, we've got that micro reset, and nice crisp single action. So it's a gun that gives time to think, a gun that permits for stress, a gun that permits for changing environments. This has always been a concern of mine, especially with when you read the news about some of these defensive shootings that happen in crowded areas. You're lined up, you're on target, you're ready to take that shot, and as you're prepping for it, someone goes darting between you and the target. That's the one thing about that self-defense shooting in the mall that was at like 40 yards at a food court. Impressive shooting. However, 40 yards is a lot of space and a lot of time for someone to get in the way of the bullet. That's where it's nice to be able to back off. But anyways, this P99 is what became the PPQ series, and then of course heavily inspired the now famous Canik series. PPQ series is now the PDP series with a few more evolutions, and they've kept that reset, they've kept the great crisp trigger, they've kept spectacular ergonomics, though it is much more modern looking, and they've increased traction, but they have not kept the decocker bit. Canik had a variant of this that was very similar in the beginning, and it didn't do very well either. I remember, this has got to be, gosh, 2014, 2015 time frame. It was a popular and BS thing on the internet of people saying, oh, you could have the gun out and someone could karate chop just wrong on that button and decock your gun and your gun's dead. Not true on the Walther. There was a Canik version that was decocked for the purpose of disassembly, when at the time that was the big thing that a lot of law enforcement agencies were backing, the idea of not needing to touch the trigger to disassemble the gun. Totally get it. It's something that's easily trained past. The problem, however, and I think a lot of citizens easily forget, a firearm is just one of many tools for one task of many tasks that a police officer needs to be proficient in. So while some people like to look up to law enforcement for firearms handling, others love mocking law enforcement for firearms handling, that's not their sole thing. That's not what they exist for. And so, no, they're not all going to be experts, and yes, they are going to make mistakes, because yes, they are humans. I wish the P99 wasn't ending. I wish we were going to get a M2 or a P99 or something like that in between there, and I really wish the paddle release hadn't gone away. For as many people as say they're afraid of it or haven't tried it, there's equally as many people that absolutely love it. I'm one of them, so maybe I've got personal bias here, but to me the P99 was really a huge leap forward in firearms technology and showing what a simple sidearm was capable of doing. And that's why it's pretty neat. That's why I've got 3 of them. And that's GBGuns Armory. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.